Real quick, man, I just wanted to talk to you about the benefits of fasting, because there's so many benefits of fasting. People just underestimate this, man, but it's just not about fat loss. Like, just for your health, for your brain function, there's tons of benefits. So I'm just going to go through the list. The first benefit of fasting is longevity, anti-aging, right? So they've done tons of studies on this. There's a lot of stuff out there indicating that fasting will extend your life, right? So they've done studies on rats. They did one study where they tested rats, and they found that rats they live 83% longer. Fasted rats lived 83% longer than a normal rat. And I know you're thinking like, oh, these are rats, these are not humans. But if you know anything about science, a lot of studies are done with mice and rats, right? For various reasons. That's tip number one, that fasting may potentially extend your life. All right, tip number two, fasting helps with fat loss. Because essentially if you're fasting, you're removing calories from your diet. Two, fasting improves your metabolism, right? It speeds up your metabolism, helps you burn more calories, right? It helps you get healthier. So when you fast, you'll get in better shape, you'll get leaner, you'll build lean muscle mass, more ripped, more definition in the abdominal section. Tip number three, increases brain function. There's a lot of data on this too, a lot of science, man. But basically, when you fast, you basically force your brain to work harder, right? Because you have to concentrate and focus more when you're hungry. You got to think, our ancestors, they would go through famines. It was hard for them to hunt food and come across food. So when you did come across food, let's say you saw a rabbit or you saw some type of animal and you're hungry, like, you had to focus. It didn't matter how hungry you are. Think about you now. Like, if you're hungry, and I used to be like this, and sometimes I'm still like this. If I'm hungry, I'm just useless to the world, man. I used to be worse, but since I've been fasting, I've gotten better. But when they were hungry, when our ancestors were hungry, they had to focus, man. They couldn't be in the daze because they didn't know the next opportunity they would have to get food. And a lot of scientists say that that's what fasting does for our brains. When we're fasted and we're still performing daily activities or we're doing deep work, we're forcing our brain to work harder. So over time, you will find that your brain function increases, etc. And I've experienced this, man. I've experienced this. I work really well under fasted periods. And I do a lot of my deep work in the morning. Anywhere between like 8 and 1 p.m., I like to do my most important tasks, like mental tasks, so any type of work I have to do. All right, so that's tip, I don't know what number that is. All right, fasting also improves your heart health, right? So it improves your blood pressure, and it also drops your cholesterol, your bad cholesterol, which is your LDL. Heart disease is the #1 reason why people die on the planet. Nothing else, heart disease. That's why that is the #1 killer in America, right? In the world. Yeah, I think that's important, man. We all want to look good, man, but at the end of the day, you want to live long. You know what I mean? You don't want to die. You don't want to die early. You want to live long. So that's extremely important. That's more important than looking good, right? What's the point of looking good if you're only going to be here for a few years, right? Next tip, it increases growth hormone, which is extremely important. I don't hear a lot of people talk about this. Growth hormone is obviously a hormone. Your body releases it, and what growth hormone does, it helps you build lean muscle mass, and it helps you lose weight. It helps you burn fat. So it's important, and there's a lot of ways that you could get your body to produce growth hormone. Fasting is one of those ways. So another way you could increase growth hormone in the body is by lifting weights, right? Doing compound exercise movements. I filmed other videos about that in the past. You could go through my page and look up compound movements, right? That's another benefit of fasting. Another tip of fasting decreases inflammation in the body. Now, if you know anything about inflammation or you know anything about chronic diseases, they found that all chronic diseases stem from inflammation, right? It's the inflammation of something in the body. With that being said, it's important. You want to decrease inflammation in your body by all means necessary. They actually did a study on this where 50 people fasted for a month, and they found that their inflammation markers went down drastically. Like, the inflammation in their body just went down by huge amounts, right? Just for 1 month of fasting. All right, folks, so a couple tips on how you could begin fasting, right? So if you're somebody that eats breakfast every day, and you've been doing this for like the last 10 years or your whole life, you want to start off slow. So I recommend by fasting for about 4 hours. All right, that's the first thing I recommend, fasting 4 hours. So if you wake up around 6 o'clock, don't have breakfast until 10 o'clock. All right, another tip that you can do, folks, when you wake up in the morning, if you're not used to fasting, is have a piece of fruit. Don't have your full breakfast. Just have some fruit, have your coffee, but do not have a meal. right, so it's basically like a light fast. You're not going on a hard fast just yet. Next thing that you could do to help build up your fasting potential is by drinking a green juice, right? Just having some type of green juice. Doesn't even matter what kind, but a green juice. Preferably you want more vegetables in there and less fruit, but that will help with your fasting as well. The last tip is just having some nuts, having almonds, peanuts, cashews, walnuts, any nuts, just to extend your fast upon waking up. And then you slowly want to build on that. So when you find out you could do 4 hours, then you want to bump it up to 6 hours, just having those foods and beverages that I mentioned. And then once you get acclimated to that 6-8 hour mark, where you could go 8 hours just with fruit, green juices, coffee, protein shakes, etc., then you want to start cutting some of that stuff out and going to a traditional fast where you only drink water, all right, lemon water. And you want to start off slow with that too. So you want to start off with 2 hours where you're just drinking lemon. Upon waking up, you want to fast 2 hours where you're only drinking lemon water, and then you want to build up to 4 hours, 6 hours to 8 hours, etc. But take some time with this, man. Don't try to jump off the bridge and go right into a hard 8-hour fast. You probably won't be able to do it, and you're probably not going to try to do it again. Anyway, folks, hopefully that was helpful. If it was, hit that subscribe button.